All right, I'm here with my friend Jen. We're doing Best Actress, Best Lead Actress in a Motion Picture for 2024. The nominees, we have Cynthia Erivo from Wicked. We have Karla Sofía Gascón from Emilia Pérez, Mikey Madison from Anora, Demi Moore from The Substance, and Fernanda Torres from I'm Still Here. Let's go in order by their last names and start with Cynthia Erivo from Wicked. What do you're a big fan?
I took a Broadway theater service class in college and fell in love with Broadway. And then I saw Wicked 3 times. And then I've, listened to the soundtrack a million times, having concerts in my cars. And I love it so much. So I was excited for this movie. So I really felt like it could do no wrong in my eyes. I just think the performances were fantastic.
Well, loving it so much, it might set up very big expectations that a movie might not be able to match, but it seems like it met your expectations.
Yes, I was terrified, to be honest with you, because that is big shoes to fill, right? But I think they cast it perfectly, and the emotions that they did were great, and it made me cry a few times, which isn't that hard to do sometimes. But it really did move me and made me happy, and I love some of the changes and little Easter eggs and stuff they tossed it as well.
Yeah, so Cynthia Erivo's the lead; she's Elphaba, and then Ariana Grande is Galinda. And I saw the play one time in 2008, and I was reading a little bit about the play just to learn a little bit more. And it seems like when the play first debuted, everybody talked about how Glinda was like the much showier role, and Elphaba maybe like shrinks into the background. Do you feel like that happens at all here in this movie?
I actually think they did a pretty good job balancing it, because they each kind of get their moments. And because of that, it makes you emotionally attached to each of them for different reasons. Because, Galinda has to be perfect at all times, and she needs to be perfect. She needs to be loved. She needs to be wanted, or she's not going to feel successful in life. Where then you've got Elphaba, who's the complete opposite, where she doesn't care what anyone thinks about her, and the only thing she cares about is her father's love and making him proud. So she's going to do whatever it takes to be the best she can be. And so getting to see how these two emotions come together and make each other better, I think they just did a wonderful job at portraying.
I wasn't crazy about this movie, but I really think these two lead performances are really, really excellent. But I was telling my 14-year-old, who like you is a Wicked super fan, that I just feel like I wanted to see, or that I don't know, Elphaba didn't feel like she had enough to do in this movie. And my kid's like, well, just wait till Wicked 2. That's when everything really comes together. So I guess I can only judge it on this movie because I have no memory of seeing the play in 2008. But I mean, so much is on Erivo. Obviously, she has to sing and dance and carry this dramatic performance in weird green makeup, and be funny and be sad and be all the things. I don't know. I think it's a really good performance. I've been a big fan of her for a long time, since I saw her in Widows in 2018, and I'm glad she's getting recognition now. Yeah. Okay. So next up we have Karla Sofía Gascón in Emilia Pérez. Now this is the Spanish language but French produced movie about a cartel, and it's embroiled in controversy because of Gascón, but she is the first openly transgender actress ever nominated for an Oscar. And then, of course, lots of very racist posts of hers emerged, and now nobody knows what to think. And she's kind of been persona non grata in the Oscar campaign. So it's like hard to talk about any of it without talking about that. But I guess just thinking of it as a movie, what do we think?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
So I literally just watched this last night, so it was fresh in my brain, and for the first time, not a second time. And I didn't hate it like I'd heard a lot of people were hating on it, but I think it's also because I went in with much lower expectations.
Yeah.
Because typically, if I went into a movie that was nominated for that many Oscars, I would have had much higher expectations, but I did not. And I thought parts of it were interesting. I don't mind the musical aspect because I am a musical fan. So when it's done right, it's enjoyable. I wouldn't say it was completely done right in this situation, but there were some numbers that I did enjoy. And I I don't think that Emilia Perez is the lead in this movie by any means. So
Absolutely.
It's crazy to me that she's the one. I know it's not her name, but she's the one nominated for Best Actress, because this whole time I'm like, she's the supporting person.
No, it's Zoe Saldana's movie. Yeah, it's a little strange, and it's not like this never happens with, they call it category fraud, but usually what happens is you run somebody who's clearly a lead, you run them in the supporting category because you think that's easier for them to win. It's strange for them to bump somebody who's clearly a supporting performance, even though they're the title character, into the lead role. And I mean, do you think she's good in this movie?
I think at times, yeah, she does a great job. I mean, she has that angry passion towards the end, but I didn't watch this performance or this movie and think, wow, this is an Oscar worthy performance. Like, I just thought it was a movie and I was ready to move on. So I am a little confused where the 13 nominations came from, because this, in my mind, if I hear this movie has 13 nominations, this should be the best movie I've ever seen in my life. And it's quite the opposite. So
yeah, tied for the second most nominations a single movie has ever received.
Yeah, that's insane.
Now, I think your review of It's a Movie and Then I Moved On is one of the more positive I have heard. Yeah, I mean, I think the way I explain it is, even though this is in Spanish and even though it has a transgender lead, otherwise it's a very, very old-fashioned movie. And even though it has like the weird musical element, it is kind of an old-fashioned movie in that, like, you get to look at a foreign culture that probably most of the Oscar voters would never want to go to. And they're like, oh, I really feel like I understand it. The cartel is bad and that sucks. And so in that way, I feel like, I don't know, there's a long history of kind of crappy movies like this getting lots of nominations. Otherwise, I got nothing. It's a Netflix movie, and I don't know. I think that she is it's a bad script, and she's doing the best she can, and she plays the character both before she transitions and afterward. And when she plays the character as a cartel lord, she is like actually menacing and has this kind of interesting energy that then comes back later in the movie when she kind of has to take on the role of cartel boss once again. And there, right. I thought that had this, this is kind of, I don't know, this is an interesting performance there. And I think there's kind of a moving moment with her and Selena Gomez toward the end of the movie when she, spoiler alert, reveals who she truly is to Selena Gomez.
Yes.
But yeah, this movie sucks. This movie feels like it's 10 hours long.
And, it just keeps going.
But it's only 2 hours, but it feels like it feels like three brutalists. I don't know. Not happy with this movie, and I don't think she should win.
Well, and what's crazy to me is that there's also so much controversy around this movie. And I don't even mean what just happened. Mm-hmm. I mean about like how it's filmed and the people that are in it, and how like the Mexican community is boycotting this movie basically, and how the trans community is boycotting this movie, and how like people are upset that there's AI technology used in this movie. So I look at all these things that are happening, and then I'm like, again, how did this movie get?
I didn't even know about the AI. I don't even know about the AI thing.
So she's not, when she's the cartel lord, she's not able to hit the lower range that she has to sing in. And so because of that, they had to use AI technology to adjust her voice so that it was lower and more manly sounding. And it's even credited in the credits of the AI technology company that was used for it. So I just look at all these things, and it just baffles me, because I'm like, it's really not that great of a movie. There's so much controversy surrounding it, even including the new controversy. And again, 13 nominations. Like, I just don't understand.
I think that a lot of Oscar voters would like to think of themselves as progressive. And so they're like, oh, the trans movie, we'll give that a nomination, not understanding that actual trans film critics, and you can read lots of great trans film critics responding to this, say this is a terrible representation of our story. Not that the movie is saying this is supposed to be every trans story. This is just one specific story. I get it. But like, there's a long history of, in like movies and TV shows, like you can watch TV shows from like even the 90s, and whenever a trans person will come up, there's always this idea that they're trying to trick you, they're trying to pull one over on you. And that's kind of what this character is doing. She is being an imposter to her family in the second half of the movie. And then the depiction of Mexico, it's like as soon as you cross the border, you've entered cartel land. And to the people of Mexico who are like, that's not all that our country is. Like, yeah, I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
So 13 nominations. All right.
Yeah.
Mikey Madison in Anora. Anora may be one of the front runners right now. What did you think of Anora?
So I watched this one also last night. I was busy.
Damn.
And I liked Anora. It has a lot of language that got old after a while for me personally. But
Russian? You don't like hearing Russian?
It's not the Russian. It's the cursing.
Oh. But you talk to you like Lacey.
I know I love Lacey, but we communicate differently, but I love her. So I allow it, No. I just don't. I've never been a big fan when movies throw in 8 million like curse words. I know I'm sounding old fashioned right now, but I'm just like, it's not needed. I think you can sell it on the performance. Sometimes I think they're there because they're needed for that moment, and I get it. But I did like it. I thought it kind of dragged towards the end. I felt like the whole last part of the movie, I'm like, why is there still going? Why are we in this car? What's happening? For me personally. But I did enjoy the roller coaster that she went on, and that she kind of stayed this strong, powerful female through it all. So, I mean, I liked it.
Yeah, a strong, powerful female who nevertheless has to project both worldliness and can look out for herself, and can also be incredibly naive and and totally in over her head in situations. And what she is she's so great throughout the movie. She's hilarious. When she gets that moment when she's talking to the Russian dipshit, when she's getting onto the airplane, and suddenly it really fully dawns on her the situation she's in, and she kind of suddenly snaps back into like charming stripper / sex worker persona. It's heartbreaking, and you feel embarrassed for her, and you feel like just this fucking sucks, and she's able to convey all of that at the same time. I think it's a great performance. I've liked Mikey Madison for a long time. I first saw her on the show Better Things, where she always played a whiny teenage girl, and she was like, there's few people better at being a very, very annoying whiny teenage girl, which I know sounds terrible, but it's a choice. She is great at playing that. And she was so great in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then in whichever Scream movie it was recently that she was in.
Right, yeah, some Scream movie. There's a bunch of them.
But I didn't know she was capable of this. She's in every shot of this movie, and it's also a very physical performance. She has to, do a lot of dancing and just a lot of physicality. And I think this is a great performance, and I might pick it to win. The only other one I'm thinking about is the next one, which is Demi Moore in The Substance. What do we think of this movie and this performance?
I did not expect to like this movie at all, because I don't typically like body horror movies. It's not my thing, but I watched it because I'd heard such great things, and I have to say that I loved it. And I think part of it is because I am a female that is older and kind of sees how society treats you as you get older versus how you're younger. And I could relate to her and what she was going through, and how she just wanted to be perfect, and she wanted that spotlight, and it really hit with me. Like, there was even a scene when Demi Moore is wearing the red dress, and she's getting all dolled up to go on this date that she doesn't even want to go on, but she still doesn't. I literally said to myself, I'm like, she is gorgeous in this scene. Gorgeous. And then she thinks she's hideous. Yeah. And she's trying to like fix it. And no matter what she does, she can't. And she just breaks down and loses it and doesn't go on the date. And like, as a female, I've been in those moments before, like where no matter what I do, I don't feel like I'm pretty enough. And other people are like, no, you look great. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. And it's just, it really spoke to me in this movie. And I thought she did a phenomenal job.
The challenge with that specifically in that scene is like, we look at her and we're like, what are you talking about? You're Demi Moore. You're incredible. You're a goddess. But you have to believe that she could actually think she's not suitable to go out, and you kind of believe it watching it.
Yes.
Or at least I'm like, yeah, I could see why you would think that, you crazy lady.
Yeah, I was blown away. I'm just like, this scene alone is just speaking to me, and I thought, I was like, wow, she's amazing.
Yeah,
So,
but this is a person who's like working her ass off, but is like succeeding. Like she's hanging on to whatever little in whatever version of Hollywood is in this movie, which seems to take place on a different version of Earth, where maybe the most important culture is workout TV shows.
Right.
It's
like the 80s.
She's succeeding. She's doing it. But that's the thing. There's always people coming for your stuff. There's always people coming to take what's yours. And my big takeaway from the movie is like, oh, this is about Nepo babies. Real Hollywood stars are like, I'll just have my own kids and then they can take over my career when I'm done, which we see all the time. And but obviously there's so much else going on in this movie. Demi Moore is so great and obviously has to wear tons of weird makeup and does a great job with it. That's more difficult than it might seem.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great performance. I think there's a chance she will win as kind of a lifetime achievement award. She deserves to win for this movie, but this is the kind of award they like to give where it's like, we've just liked you for so long. Here you go.
Right.
What I really hope happens is that as a result of this, she gets to do a lot more cool movies. Like that's more important than winning an Oscar.
Absolutely.
Sometimes like older actresses will win, like Renee Zellweger won an Oscar a few years ago and then wasn't in a movie again until the Bridget Jones sequel, which is about to come out. But it's been 6 years since she won an Oscar for Judy. So I just hope she's been a great actress for so long. I hope that the Demi-sance continues.
And it's interesting to see her come from like G.I. Jane to the Substance, like see the different roles she's done. And
I know I never in a million
growth,
years expected this.
Right.
Expected this from her, and for it to move me this much, for me to love this movie, both find it like emotionally powerful and just cool as hell as a horror movie.
Yeah,
and as a
and what I
horror.
think it does such a great job with as well is when she's her younger self, it's still literally her doing the job and she's doing a phenomenal job. So it really shows, I think it as well as like, as you get older, you can still do the job perfectly fine. Society just doesn't want you to. So it's just kind of like, it just plays on so many different feelings and emotions and just really draws you in. It's great.
Yeah. So the last movie we have, Fernanda, Torres in I'm Still Here. And this is the one movie I haven't seen from this category. So can you tell me about I'm Still Here and Fernanda Torres?
I'd love to. I went on Saturday and saw this movie because I was like, I have to see it before this hangout with you. So I liked it. I'm a sucker, first of all, for based on true story movies. I love documentaries. I love based on true story movies. And so I'm already going to be drawn in because in my mind, I'm like, these are the real people, even though I know they're not. So I loved the way that they portrayed this family as this perfect, loving family that just care so much about each other. They really did a fantastic job showing their passion and how strong they are as a family, which then sets you up for the devastation that happens with the dad being taken away and them not knowing where he is or what's happening. And the mother has to deal with so much because she has the kids she's taking care of. She's dealing with the army that's invaded her house. And then it's the fact that she gets taken away and she's now held in this military camp and beaten for 12 days while she knows her husband's missing. She doesn't know what's happening with her kids. And there's just so much that she's having to deal with. And then she makes it her life mission to make the government acknowledge her husband's death because they refused and said they had nothing to do with it, that he's just missing. They have no clue. So she just goes through so many emotional journeys in this movie, trying to protect her family, keep her together. And she refuses to cry at any moment in front of her kids because she just wants them to keep thinking that she's strong, she's okay, and she's going to take care of this family.
It being, I didn't know it was that devastating. And I'm like, I still have to watch this movie. Oh God.
Oh, I just like ruined it for you. I'm so sorry.
No, you didn't ruin it at all. Just, I don't know. I feel like Oscars love to nominate women who go through a lot of trauma. It's like, congratulations, here you go. Obviously, this is a true story. Is it a, I know it's weird to say fun. Is it a fun movie? Is it an enjoyable time?
I mean, the first part's fun for sure because they're on the beach. They get a pet dog, and they they really build up that part. But after the dad disappears, there's no fun to be had throughout this movie.
Do you know, when is this set? And this is set in Brazil.
The 70s.
Okay, gotcha. So this is like during a military dictatorship?
Yes.
Okay.
It's yes. And so, I mean, she's determined to like basically bring her husband's name to the limelight and have them acknowledge it. But she also has to walk a fine line because she doesn't want to get now taken by them again to disappear.
That sounds so interesting. Okay, I'm excited to see that particular thing, trying to get the government to acknowledge the thing while also knowing can't be that, can't stick my neck out that high. Her performance, like any more thoughts on the performance that she gives?
Yeah, she does a great job. You really feel like she's a mother and a wife that's just struggling and trying to be successful and put food on the table. But I have to say, watching this movie, it didn't feel to me like it was necessarily this big Oscar-worthy role. I think it was a great role. I think she did a wonderful job. It just didn't stick out to me as like, oh, this should be Oscar nominated.
Okay.
So I don't know if I just have different standards since I felt that way about, Emilia Perez as well.
Yeah.
but she still, I mean, I don't want to downplay how she did because she still did a great job.
So maybe like a quieter performance than you're expecting from an Oscar nominee?
Yeah. Like it just, she had the emotions, but it's a lot of just stern, like internal thinking, I guess, on her part. And so it's just, there wasn't that like standout moment where you're just like, wow, that was phenomenal and brings me to tears or makes me just feel so moved, or like I didn't have any of those moments in this movie. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, obviously, but I am always impressed when they nominate a performance that doesn't have, the big Oscar monologue, when they nominate a sort of understated performance, because obviously acting is more than just saying lines. It's how you carry yourself and all that. You all know that. Okay, let's make our predictions. Who do we think is going to win Best Actress?
So I think for the longest time, it was going to be Emilia Perez, which I know is not her name, and I'm grabbing my cheat sheet really fast. I told you I'm horrible at names. Karla, Sofía, Gascón.
Yes.
So for the longest time, I thought it was going to be Karla, Sofía, Gascón for Emilia Perez. But with all of that drama that came out, I just don't know if that's still going to happen for her. I also think it's just so overrated that I think it's going to go more towards Anora at this point, and I think she's going to get the win for Mickey.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
I think it's going to be Anora as well. Yes. That also would be my pick. I think I would pick Mikey Madison for Anora over Demi Moore for The Substance. But it's very close. What about you?
My pick, shockingly, because I did speak high praises of Wicked, is not Wicked. It is Demi Moore in The Substance, because that movie just really spoke to me. And I thought she just did such a phenomenal job in that role. It's not something I ever expected from her, that I feel she deserves this award.
I'd love for her to win. I'd love for a horror movie to get recognized. And I just love for her as someone who's been so great in movies for so long to get recognized late in her career. That would be so cool if it happened.
Absolutely.
Is there a performance that wasn't nominated that comes to mind? A lead actress performance.
Did you see The 688?
No.
Oh, phenomenal. Kerry Washington.
Okay.
Kerry Washington is in it. And it is such a good movie. As I said, I love based on true story movies. And this one is. Do you know anything about this one?
No.
So it's basically back in the war when none of the military was getting any of their letters from home. And so there was a lot of sadness and frustration from the military as well as the families because no one could communicate. And everyone thought basically their families were dying. Mm-hmm. And so there was a troop of all Black women that weren't being able to do anything at the time. And so they decide, oh, we'll just throw them on this because it's not like they're going to succeed anyways. And then it becomes their mission to get the mail out to all of these families. But there's so much passion behind it because they're constantly being told they can't do it and that they're failing and that they're horrible, even though they're succeeding and doing a phenomenal job. And the whole thing is just, you'll never be good enough. We picked you because you're going to fail. And it's her job to lead this troop and make them feel worthy and make them feel heard and make them feel appreciated. And she's having to teach them how to handle themselves in situations. And I loved that movie. I cried multiple times. And she has a specific monologue towards the end that blew me away. And I was like, this has to be nominated for something. And then when it wasn't, except for a song, I was like, ugh, I was devastated.
Well, she's another actress, Kerry Washington, who's been so great for so many years. I don't think she's ever been nominated for an Oscar. So yeah, that would have been cool. This may sound weird. As soon as you said it's about the mail, I got kind of excited because I've always found mail shipping. I find it very interesting. I don't know why. I can't explain it. Every time I go to a UPS store, I get a little excited. So
I love it. Then you'd love this movie.
Yeah, I will check this movie out. It's like they have to deliver the mail? Hell yeah.
They do. And it's still in wartime, so there's still bombs and shooting. And like it's not like it's just this easy thing, So
it's a miracle.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
The mail is a miracle. I think it every day. Thank God for you, mail. May you never go away.
Right.
All right, Jen, this is the lightning round. I want you to say which movie will win Best Picture. Let me say the nominees real quick for everybody.
Excellent.
So we have Anora, The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, The Substance, Wicked. Which movie will win Best Picture?
I have to be truly transparent. I have not had a chance yet to see The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, or Nickel Boys. But I don't think those would have been my choices anyways. So honestly, I really want The Substance to win. I just think of all the movies nominated, it is my favorite. If I had to pick a second one, I would probably just go with emotions and pick Wicked, even though I know that's not going to win. But I really want The Substance to get the moment that it's due for just how wonderful it was.
Would that also just be your number one movie of 2024, or would it be Wicked?
Shockingly, it's Wicked. But again, I think Wicked got the number one spot of 2024 because there's some bias to it.
You love Wicked?
But
you're Wicked.
Yes.
Okay. I'm saving my. I'm gonna keep everybody in suspense. I'm saving my predictions until later in this Oscar special.
Understandable.
Yes. So Jen, I have everybody check Jen out on TikTok. Link in the description. Check out Jen's videos, movie reviews, et cetera, et cetera. And thank you for doing this and for seeing all these movies.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
My pleasure. Okay. Goodbye.
Bye.